All right, let's try this again. Day two, arc length versus arc measure. Arc length is going to be referring to a portion of the circumference. So when I talk about the length of an arc, I am actually talking about how far it is, what is the actual length as you travel along the circle from point A to point B. That would be the arc length. So it's a measure in like inches or feet or some sort of measurable unit of length. Okay, and to determine that, you need to know what portion of the circle we're dealing with. So that's where the arc measure comes in. And so the arc measure is going to tell us what portion of the circle or what portion of the circumference we want to calculate. So there's 360 degrees total in a circle. And so 60 divided by 360 is going to give us that fraction of the circle. So that will be what portion of the circle we need to calculate for that particular arc, for this particular arc. So that is 63/60ths, which is also, if you reduce that, 1/6 of the circle. So now what do? We take that and we multiply it by the circumference, the whole circumference. And then what that'll do is that will take a fraction, 1/6 of the total circumference, thus giving us the arc length of AB. So the circumference is going to be pi times diameter, or 2 pi times the radius. Well, in most of these problems, they're giving us the radius. So in this case, the radius is 5. So the circumference then is going to be 2 pi times 5, or 10 pi. So now it just becomes a calculation. I'll ask my watch. 1/6 times 10 pi. Oops, try again. 1/6 times 10 pi.
It's about 5.2359.
5.235, so about 5.2. Oops. So 1/6 times 10 pi is approximately 5.2 units. Sounds about right. Looks about right for my picture. If the radius is 5, that arc to A to B looks to be maybe a little bit more than that. No big deal. Right, I mean, so that's the difference between arc length and arc measure. Its length is actually measured in units of length, like inches, feet, and it's portion of the circumference. We'll do one more here. In this case, again, we have 63/60ths of a circle, but we have a little smaller circle, so there's a smaller radius, and so that is going to be multiplied by 2 times pi times the radius, which gives us 6 pi. And now all we do is take 63/60ths times 6 pi, and this one's kind of a funny one. You get 360 pi over 360. And so if you calculate this one out, you get like 3.14, which it happens to be pi. But anyway, 3.14 units. That's how long it is. So it's 3.14 from point A, if I walk right along that arc, all the way over to B. So that's a little bit about arc length versus arc measure. Kind of easy to confuse because measure, I mean, you'd measure to get length, so it just seems kind of confusing. But remember, length is actually how long it is from point A to point B, or whatever point on an arc. That's it. Thanks.